Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Feel Good Friday. This is the 31st of July. This is my last post until we get back in September on September 1st. That's a Tuesday. I'll be back up and running for with Church at Home. And then the following Saturday, which is I think is like the 6th of September, for Gospel on the Go. But I will be away on holidays for all of August, and I'm not going anywhere. Just going to do work around the house, read some books, play with my dog, maybe do some Lego with Rob, who knows, but I'm going to take some time off. So you won't see me again after today until the 1st of September. But today I want to share with you an idea from Ronald Rolheiser's book, The Holy Longing, The Search for Christian Spirituality. And right in the beginning, in the preface, he says this: Teilhard de Chardin, who was both scientist and mystic, used to ask why so many sincere, good persons did not believe in God. His answer was sympathetic, not judgmental. He felt that they must not have heard of God in the correct way. His religious writings are an attempt to make faith in God more palatable for those who, for whatever reason, are struggling with it. The reason why I chose this to talk about today is because it's a feel good thing. The fact is that, like any good thing, like anybody who has a favorite restaurant they like to go to and will recommend it to everybody, or if you know a good mechanic, especially for women, you find a mechanic who doesn't try to, rob you blind, and takes good care and explains things, not in a mansplaining way, but explains this is what you need to do, and doesn't pull that whole crap of, if this was my wife's car, this is what I would do. I had that happen to me once when they were about to take me for a ride. When you find a good mechanic, you recommend them. If you have a favorite food, you recommend it. If you have a favorite book, you might share it with friends. Well, that's the thing about the faith. And Teilhard de Chardin saying, he just didn't understand. Like, we must just be doing this wrong. How did he put this again? He felt that they must not have heard of God in the correct way. His religious writings are an attempt to make faith in God more palatable for those who, for whatever reasons, are struggling with it. And that's the thing. When we have a real relationship with God, and it's not something that we just take for granted or something that we think that we have to, some churches out there sort of imply that you have to hit a certain number of people, you have to go out and baptize all nations, which is very biblical. And I entirely want my congregations and my diocese to go out and share the good news of Jesus Christ. As a matter of fact, our synod theme will be revival in September. But I don't want people to go out and thump people over the head with their Bibles or their prayer books. I want people to go out and build relationships so that people will trust them, so that when they say to them, have you ever thought about having a relationship with God? Or if that person says to them, how do you get through such difficult things? They can say, well, actually, it's my relationship with Christ that helps me to do this. We need to be willing and able to acknowledge that, first of all, not all people are ready and willing and able at this moment to hear the good news of Jesus Christ. And that's okay. That's okay. You think about Jesus' own ministry. How many people did he walk by? How many people did he overheard him chatting with his 12 disciples, his learners, his students? How many people overheard him and just shook their heads and walked by that first time, or the 10th time, or even the 100th time? But somewhere along the road, we're like, oh, wait a minute, I think I heard something about this. You probably had an experience in your life where you recognize that there was something that was said. You're listening to something thinking, this seems really familiar. I've heard this before, but for whatever reason, you didn't process it. And this time it's sinking in. It's like an example I like to use, for instance, is the first time you learn about new color. I remember the first time I learned about the color teal. I was about 11 years old, and I wanted to wear makeup. I desperately wanted to wear makeup, and my mom finally said, "Okay, you can have some makeup, but we'll talk about when you can wear it outside." And so I went out and I bought myself eyeliner, which I've worn like 3 times in my whole life now. But I bought myself eyeliner, and it was teal, that kind of blue-green color. And when I saw the word teal and I figured out what color teal was, all of a sudden I noticed the color teal. My friend Tammy in my grade 6 class had a teal sweatshirt. I saw a car that was the color teal. The awnings on a house nearby us were teal. Those things had been there all along. Tammy had worn that sweatshirt before. I just never paid attention to it. But for whatever reason, when I saw teal for myself in that eyeliner color, all of a sudden it opened up my eyes to the world of teal. Well, the same thing goes with how we think about God and how we talk about Jesus Christ. Teilhard de Chardin was right. We shouldn't be forcing people to understand. Sorry, there's a mosquito. I think I brought it from the camp. We shouldn't be forcing people to try to come to a relationship with Jesus Christ because we tell them to. We should be encouraging them to learn about him, to experience him, to read about him, to bump into him on the street, and then establish a relationship at their own pace. Let them hear us talk about Jesus. Let them see us living a life that's faithful to Jesus. And then when the time is right, like me picking up an eyeliner that was the color teal, then all of a sudden they'll see Jesus all around them. And that will feel good. There are too many people and programs and indeed churches and denominations out there who do really good work at making people push away from God and say, you know what? Nope, a little too pushy for me. Not going to go there. Not going to do that. But the thing about Jesus is everything he did was about relationship. It wasn't about a program. It wasn't about a doctrine. It wasn't even about converting the world. It was about bringing everyone into relationship with him. And that means, like everything else, you have to wait until the right time. I remember after I met Rob officially, I remembered that I had actually met him at a meeting back in September. I didn't connect with him until the end of October and start, meeting him. And then we started dating in, mid-November. But after we got to be friends, but I met him long before I met him. Like I was at a meeting where I was a person who was sort of the authority, the in charge person. I was one of many assessors at a session of inviting students to meet with chaplains, and I was a chaplain. He was not one of my students, thanks be to God. That wouldn't have worked very well. But he was in the group, and we went around and we introduced ourselves, and I introduced myself, and then however many more people in the circle, and he introduced himself. The first time I met Rob, no blip. Okay, nice guy. A good person among lots of good person. A good seminarian among many seminarians and priests. Okay. It took till a different context and a different situation and a different conversation for me to really meet him and then say, oh wow, okay. And it didn't even realize I had met him before. Not until after a while. Same thing happens with Christ. We can run into Christ all the time. We can bump into people who will introduce us to Christ and indeed have tried. And we have blinders on. We're just not there. It's not ready yet. But when the right time comes, when we're ready to see the color teal, when we are ready to feel the presence of Christ and get to know him better, it'll happen in God's good time. Teilhard de Chardin was right. We can't force people, but we have to find new ways of introducing people so that they want to get to know God. And so that's what I leave you with on this Feel Good Friday and this end of July as you head into a whole month of no church at home with Rachel. Whether that's a blessing or a curse, I don't know. But as you enter into this time, I invite you to don't be frustrated if you just don't feel it for God. That's okay. If and when the time comes, it'll happen. And if you do feel it for God, if you do want to tell other people about it, don't be frustrated if other people don't want to yet. Let them come to God at their own time. And I guarantee you that if God wants them to come to meet him, and you're the person that God wants that to bring them to introduce you, it'll happen. You don't have to worry about it. God will take care of all the details. Just like God took care of the details of reintroducing me to Rob at the right time. And 21 years later, 23 years later, here we are. Have a great day. Have a great August. God bless you. And I hope you'll return to see me in September because I enjoy having this time with you. And I enjoy getting your feedback from your comments and emails. Have a blessed summer. Stay cool. Don't let the mosquitoes drive you nuts. And I will see you again in September. God bless you.